appreciate you being here. I'm looking at the list. I don't think we have any new directors with us. If we did, I would have them go ahead and introduce themselves, but I think we all know each other here. So we'll go ahead and move into just a quick introduction of school. How many of you on this call are signed up already in school, if you will, SKOOL? Is there anybody who's not?
I think I've seen everybody on there except maybe Matt, which I can send you a new invite.
Okay.
And okay, I'll send that to you as soon as we're done with this call.
So Trish, I think I would still like to have you just, if you don't mind popping it up and sharing your screen and just kind of give everybody just a brief little overview of what it is and what we're doing with it. And hopefully we can get everybody after the fall meetings onboarded and in it so that we can start leveraging its capability.
All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not an expert at school. I just started this as well. So, but this is going to be the new platform. It's an internal communications platform that we are using instead of Basecamp. For all you older directors who remember Basecamp, this is kind of replacing that. I would recommend that if you log on to watch this video from Elaine Ball. She kind of updated it. The date is misleading. It says February 24th, but she just recently updated it. So I would encourage you to actually watch that video. We're going to use this for just general discussion as maybe meeting information is available. I just posted about the hotel being extended. And as you can see, nobody looked at it or liked it. So I know usually when a message goes out, we will send an email as well. It'll come from school. So I don't want to inundate everybody with more emails, but at least it's a reminder to let you know what's going on. The most important thing on here is the classroom. And this is where we're housing all the town hall recordings, the marketing reports from Elaine, the surveyors reports, these are the directors reports that go out the couple of days before the town hall. And then we just added the new Surveyor Says Bulletin, which you guys may have seen that in News and Views this week, but we're kind of bringing this back, but in a shorter form, just to kind of highlight what's going on each month. So that's, you know, the main thing is kind of this section right here. Members, you can actually view all the members and see who's active, who's not active. There's leaderboards where you can see who is kind of on there more. Some people, you know, logged in once and then don't go back on, but you can become one of these levels here. So, I mean, it's pretty basic. It's just, it's secure and it's a good way to communicate. So we're just going to try to, you know, push stuff out there. We might even put meeting documents out on here if we can get everybody to sign up. They will be emailed, but they will also be on the meeting app. But I think this is a good place to house those documents as well. So we'll have them for future too. So I guess that's really about it with school. If anybody,
I have a question.
questions?
I have a question. How do you know if you're on it or not?
How do you know if you're on it or not?
Yeah,
Well,
Tom
I
and
know,
Sources, am I on it?
yeah, you are on it because I did see, before we got on, I did check. You're on it. You
Okay.
signed up 28 days ago. So I can resend you the link. You
I
should,
know how to get on it.
it should be tied to your email address.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have 43 members, and I believe Linda, Tim, and myself. So we have about 40 directors that actually have signed up. So
I did find mine as well. Thank you, Trish.
Good, good. Okay. So we hope to get all the, you know, directors on board. Somebody's coming in by the name of Woofy. I don't know who that is. Yeah. So if there's no questions, I'll just go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, and I think the longer term goal of we're trying school to see how it works, but I think ultimately what we'd like to do is be able to get our committees also organized in this platform so that we can share documents, have a space that we can talk amongst ourselves or send communication out. And maybe have a little bit easier way to reach the group than maintaining and managing email lists, which get to be a bit unwieldy sometimes. So look for more to come on that. Mainly what we're trying to do is get everyone in and ready to kind of get onboarded and familiar with it. We'll go through it at the fall meetings, and then maybe move towards getting our committees organized in here as well. So stay tuned for more in that vein. Also, Trish, while we have you, how about state character development and the membership drive? I think there was an extension maybe to participate. And is there anyone who's not familiar with what we're talking about here?
I've sent out enough emails. I'm bugging people, so I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar with it. But it's not going as according to plan. I mean, we are kind of slow here. I think we have 14 states signed on, which, you know, we were hoping for a little bit more. I think there's 5 or 6 states that are just a hard no. So I sent out more communication today with the directors, the executive directors, that have not responded, just to say, hey, you have by October 1st to let us know if you're in or not. Just so the directors know, if your state does not participate, NSPS is still going to create a character, and we are still going to create cards, but we're going to create the character and the card data. I mean, we'll pull it from websites or, you know, so it may not be exactly what you're looking for as a character, but it'll be something state specific. So like we were talking about Maryland, because I'm not sure if Maryland's going to be on board. And I thought, well, you know, we have the state bird of the Oriole, or we have jousting as our state sport. So we could do something cool with that. So we're not going to like eliminate anybody, because we wanted this to be a good membership push. So we will include your state. So that's kind of where we are. So hopefully by October 1st, I will have, you know, some more states on board.
Dick, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, it's see, I think long time ago, Wisconsin created our badger that looks like Frank. Frank
Yeah.
Thousand. So
Yeah,
but that's
and
already
Wisconsin
in
is
place.
using that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the states that already had a character, even if we don't hear from you, we're still creating the card because you have a character. So
Yeah, so the
Right.
goal with this whole project is to really be able to have some material that direct back to each affiliate state when we're out, you know, doing events through the year, promoting surveying, promoting the profession, NSPS, and also to help with lift and point back to our affiliates, to all of your states as well. So it was voluntary. If the states wanted to jump in and participate and help, you know, guide the direction of the character and do those things and have it for use yourselves, that was an option that was given. I would encourage you, if you're not familiar about this or not sure what we're talking about or want to get further up to speed, reach out to Trish. She can get you information. I know it's been sent to the executive directors as well here recently. So, and not just for Geo Week, but through the year. So for any events and activities that we host or we go to that cover the country, that cover all of the states, we'll have these materials there and able to, because a lot of times we'll get people that maybe walk up and want information about where they're from, their state. How can I get a hold of my state society? And then it's just a card they can take away and point to your resources. So that's well underway.
So is
Yeah.
that,
Is there a sponsor fee associated with that, Linda? And is that a yearly?
Trish, I think you maybe could answer that better than me.
yeah, for this membership drive, the cost to get in was $1,000, and that got the character, the trading cards. There was a couple other items included with that. But if you were already a state sponsor of NSPS, which there were quite a few, we discounted that to $500. And if you already had a character, because that's part of the development, that was basically comped, and you'll get the cards for free. So this is just this year's, the 2026 membership drive is this. The plan is to do something different for 2027, and there may not be a cost associated with it.
Yeah. So it covers the cost of developing the character and stuff like that.
Yeah, and the printing of the cards, you know.
so it's just a one-time fee?
Yes, it's just the one-time fee for, the 2026 membership drive, yes.
Any other questions around membership drive before we move on? And if I happen to miss hands, please take yourself off of mute and just speak up. It's informal. So, all right, let's move into fall meeting updates. I wanted to just kind of go through a list to get everybody up to speed, prepared, looking for material that'll be coming for our fall meetings as we're preparing here. Hopefully everybody is signed up and able to come join us and attend in Minneapolis. See a couple of head nods there. If you have not, I know Trish sent a message through school that the room block, I believe, has been extended. Is that true through the end of the month? 29th.
Yeah, through the 29th.
Through the 29th. And I'm going to drop the link to the meeting info site into the chat. This is where you can find hotel information, scheduling information, details about the YSN conference is all at this link. So feel free to pop out there, check it out. The format is slightly different. I think we've talked about this maybe previously. It's been maybe a couple of months or maybe 3 now since we went over this, but a bit of a shorter format this time, mainly because we've been really encouraging our committees to get together and get some work done between our in-person meetings. So we don't have to spend as much time in committee meetings, and we can be sharing the results of that work with everybody in the group. So we'll still have our regional council meetings. There are a handful of other meetings, and then it'll really be a sharing session in our business meetings that will dominate the majority of this particular meeting. So packets will go out on October 1st. So look for those in your email. Those will be emailed electronically. There'll probably be a decent amount of content in there. So I would encourage you to start poking around at it, looking at it, get familiar with it before we end up in Minneapolis so that you're comfortable with what's in there. The new budget or the proposed budget will be in there to for you to start looking at and getting eyes on before we go to the meetings in the fall. There'll be probably a couple of other additional items that might come just slightly after the October 1st cutoff, and we've got a couple of committees that are finishing up some motions or some work there that those may be forthcoming. They might not make it in the October 1st initial run, but they'll be following shortly thereafter if we have those things ready to go. So stay tuned for more there. Be thinking about nominations. That's a big item for us at the fall meeting as we prepare for spring. Secretary and Vice President in particular. So we'll be asking when you're joining together as your regions to be discussing amongst yourselves candidates to bring forward, or as yourselves be thinking about the potential for running for any of the open positions that are coming up. So just want to get that out there, get people thinking about it. Sometimes it sneaks up and catches us and we're in the meetings and it's like, oh, we've got nominations. They're big ones. There's a lot that comes along with, and so just ask everyone to give those things thoughtful consideration as we come into our fall meeting. Please get your director report submitted to Trish anytime. I think she would take those. You can email those in. Really, I don't know that we have anybody new, but just in summary, those are just a report kind of. It can just be bullet points even. It doesn't have to be extensive, but what's been going on or happening in your state that you'd like to share with your fellow directors for awareness. Quite often those are used as a bit of a blueprint in our region council meetings. But nonetheless, they're nice to have posted so that directors can take a look at what's happening state to state if there are items of common or mutual interest. So we would encourage everybody to please get those submitted ahead. If we have any committee chairs on the call, that email has also gone out reminding you to get those reports in. I know those are coming in, so thank you for getting those reports buttoned up and to us as well. Those will be helpful. There's a lot of great committee work going on right now.
Got a question. Are the director's reports posted on school?
Traditionally, those have been online on the
Yeah.
webpage. Mhm.
On the webpage. So I would be able to see examples of those because I've never done ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe
I'll look on the webpage.
I can send you a couple of links so you don't have to go through the whole report. I'll send you a couple of samples that
Thank you,
will
Trish.
follow.
I had sent one last spring for the spring meeting, but it never got posted to the website.
I don't know. Typically, if sometimes you guys give them to me when we're right on site, so things get a little hectic, but I'll check. If it's not, I can sure get it posted.
Excuse me, Trish, will you include me on an email, similar to, Tom?
Yep.
Yeah, me too, Trish.
Will. Yep.
That's
Yeah, I
so
do.
bad.
Trish, what's the preferred format for those reports?
Do you want me to just show you one? Which
Yes.
one that we
I mean,
kind of
like
use that? It's just, it's
PDF
really,
or Word?
I'm sorry?
PDF or Word, what's your preferred format?
PDF would actually be preferred.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll show you a good one that North Carolina usually does, like a state of the state. And I'll just share my screen real quick. I just wanted to pull it up first. This one is just this is from 2024, but just kind of, just the basic stuff that's going on in the state. Something like this is kind of what we're looking for.
Got a little bit bigger, Trish.
Oh, yeah. Can't really see that, huh?
I just dropped the link to the reports from the website in there as well for everybody. So.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is usually a good one. North Carolina puts together. So just kind of list your current officer, delegate, executive director, and just kind of stuff that's going on within the state for the year. Or the 6 months, I should say.
Thanks, Trish.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else housekeeping wise regarding fall meetings that anyone has a question about? I'm going to go through just a few things that you can expect to be coming, but otherwise logistics or what have you. Does anybody need any help, or are we feeling pretty good?
I have a couple of issues I'd like to bring up at the end of the meeting, some questions.
Okay.
So but
We
go
should
ahead.
have we should have plenty of time.
Okay, thank you.
We'll take those there. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and move into some items that you can probably expect coming at the fall meeting. First one, and I will share my screen here, is from the Education Committee. Can you guys see this okay?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So one item that is being worked on right now through the Education Committee is the SALIS Journal. So I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the journal itself. It's currently under AAGS, but it is an academic journal for peer-reviewed articles. And at the spring Education Committee meetings, there was a pretty in-depth discussion about a journal for the surveying profession and ensuring that we have something that's established and available, especially as we have more education programs kind of ramping up or becoming more available in that space. So there was discussion about, do we create a new journal? Do we look at partnering with AAGS on the SALIS journal and see if we can get the number of issues up and circulation increased, et cetera. And so there were some options that were explored, one being, as you can see here in May, the feasibility of renewing the partnership with AAGS for the SALIS journal. It's already established and in place, being distributed and what have you. So there was a feeling that perhaps that would be reasonable to explore. And so there's been some work going on in the charges of the Education Committee to explore that and work with AAGS. So through the summer, there's been some meetings with NSPS and AAGS, just having discussions, looking at feasibility, and all of those things. And it's looking positive that there's interest and there's synergy to work together towards strengthening that journal and partnering so that we can really increase the availability for that type of an opportunity. And really it kind of stems when you step back and look at education as a whole for our profession, making sure we're providing opportunities all the way through the pathway, from getting brand new graduates started in their journey in the profession, and then also all the way through continuing education and then supporting those who are going to become educators or researchers in our field to really support and educate the next generation. So that this is kind of addressing that particular end of the spectrum there. So right now, the step we're in September is the draft memorandum of understanding. So that's the two groups kind of working through, doing their due diligence at what this maybe could look like. And the hope is to have a draft prepared and ready for the directors to review and consider at our fall business meeting. So this is one of them. I'm not sure if it's going to make the October 1st packet because there's a number of committees and groups that the draft needs to go through and everyone needs to be comfortable with before it comes forward to the full director body. But the hope would be to review it at our fall meetings for consideration and a board vote. And then assuming everything is acceptable and it moves forward, a signature, it's around November with the hope that a jointly published edition could be happening by May of 26. So that's just a bit of an overview. I mainly just want to let you guys know that this is underway. This is an item that would need a vote of the directors. And so it's more of an informational item at this point to get you aware and thinking about it and looking for it when the packets and the information starts coming your way. Is there any questions currently about this? Dick, I think I see you waving. Yep.
Yep. Can't find my damn raise the hand thing. Just more of a suggestion when you put that out to a vote. It's been a long time since a lot of us have seen a journal. So if it comes to a vote, the education folks should explain what that is, and is it peer reviewed? Typically, what would it take to submit an article? Right? And I think that's what people would be interested if they vote on it. Type thing. Just a executive summary of what the thing is, because I think there's a lot of people on that committee that just assume we all know that.
No, great point. And I will say, yes, it's a traditional journal, or has been a more traditional journal where it's peer-reviewed articles, which generally means there's some kind of research going on in an academic institution. Those articles are then reviewed by those peers in the profession to give it a rigorous review, and then before it goes to publishing. Now, I think share freely that a lot of discussion has been had around the types of content in the journal and making it accessible for a range of members and readers. So I believe it will probably look something like a blended journal where there'll be opportunities for peer review, but also some opportunities for case study type things or showcase of work. What are you doing out in the industry? Articles of interest. There would be a place for that as well, so that it is a little bit more approachable perhaps, or within reach for a wider audience. But we'll make sure that gets summarized and shared when that comes forward.
Do we have access to that now? Something tells me I get emails. I put a search in there like years ago, and I get an email once in a while, and I don't know that I even have access, or I have to pay for the article if it comes, I think.
So Trish could probably help with some legacy knowledge here, but my understanding, I'm not sure how it worked previously, like ACSM years, but currently you have to be, I believe, an AAGS member or subscribe directly to the journal for a fee. So this would be opening that up, broadening that access.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that model should be explained too. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Anything else on the journal before we move on here? All right. There will also be a motion coming forward for, it's really more of a formality from our spring meeting to include the YSN in our bylaws. So there was a vote in the spring to include the YSN and have a representative on our XCOM. And so that just needs to be, our bylaws need to be amended to accommodate that essentially. So that's an item that's out there. The updated ALTA standards, which those of you who were able to join us last town hall, Gary Kent went through a overview of what those updates and changes are looking like. Thanks, Matt, for joining us. Anyway, so those will be coming forward for a vote at the fall meeting. So if you weren't able to see the presentation or join the town hall, the recording's out there. If you want to catch up, you can watch that recording. If you have questions, reach out to Gary. But that will be coming forward for all of your consideration as well. The NCSS model law revisions. So as you might remember, there was a motion made to gather feedback by July 1 from the states on what was presented in the spring by Gary Kent. And so that period was opened and then closed. And as the motion reads, there'll be essentially a summary of will be provided for the meeting, and that there's a motion that's still sitting open waiting for us to vote on that item. So that has to do with the proposed changes that Gary and committee have been working through for some time now. So just a reminder about that. Mike?
We were going to get a copy of that by October 1st so we could review it before the meeting. Is that?
Yeah, so I'd have to go back and look at the motion, but it was just that was for any feedback from the states, and I believe there was only 2 states that responded at all on the proposed changes to the NCSS model law. So not to be confused with the non-boundary license. That's a
Right,
separate item.
Yeah, but I asked a question before that whenever Gary presented the changes to the model law, he said that he was going to get that out to us by October 1st so that
Okay.
we could all review it before the meeting to vote on it.
The red lines that were presented in the spring.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure we can resubmit those or resend those back out again. I believe they were in the packets at spring meeting. And
Well, I
then
thought there'd been maybe some changes since then.
no changes, just a gathering of input from the states that responded. So that's what he will go over at the fall meeting.
Yeah, could you resend that, because I don't think I have it from the spring meeting.
Okay, so Trish, if we could work together to get the red lines that were presented in the packet resent.
I have a question regarding this. I take it this was taken upon by NSPS to provide suggestions to NCES regarding the model law?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments there? So that will be forthcoming as well in the packets. And then the last item I had was the NCSS non-boundary license, which as you'll recall in the spring, we had gathered questions from the regional councils. Andy Zotwell had come from NCSS and presented. We submitted those questions. We did not receive any kind of formal response back other than directing us to see their final report, which was presented at the NCSS annual meeting in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I believe that link was provided in our town hall to this group. So essentially that was the report of findings from the committee at NCSS that was working on the non-boundary license. So we have not received any other feedback or response to the questions that we posed. And so I've had a few folks have reached out kind of wondering where we are, where we stand. Really, that's what I can report. We have not received any kind of response or feedback specifically to the questions we posed. A few of those questions were, if you go through their report, were answered likely in our summary or our cumulative questions we assembled as NSPS. Jim, I see you have a hand up there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Linda, I could tell you that what happened after the annual meeting is it was forwarded on to the EPS committee, which is examination for professional surveyors. Now, I'll have to check to see under their charges if that was actually a direction from the incoming president, Elizabeth, whether or not she wanted them to take that on as a charge. If she did, then they would have to review all the information, decide whether or not that should be a viable exam. And if they determine it is, then that committee would be the ones that would actually formulate the policies or what needs to be done in order for that to move forward as an exam. So I'll try to check that and get back with you to find out if that was a directive yet from the president.
That would be helpful. I had reached out. We got an email stating that there will be a POLC webinar on October 29th, which is unfortunately after we meet in Minneapolis just shortly. And I suspect they'll probably go through some of these things, charges and the like. I did ask if there was any way we could get that information ahead of time in time for our meeting. But it doesn't sound like that's an option. So Jim, if you have further insight or information, that would be helpful because it would be nice to be able to update our group in Minneapolis on where we're at there. But from my understanding, Jim, that's what I was also thinking. It's now at the EPS committee stage. And that's the latest update or knowledge or information that I have to share.
Yeah,
Are
after
there
this,
any?
I'll try to look up to see if I can find that committee and if that was a charge to sign to that committee by the president. And I'll try to get right back to you. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, are you on any committees right now with NCES?
I am on the EPE committee, which is a professional engineer committee now.
Okay, because I'm not on any committees either. I'm not on any committees. I kind of backed off from NCS since I'm no longer on a board, so.
Dick, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, I guess related to that, to the non-boundary thing, that's, how should I say, much earlier in the NCWES process than the PLSS test, which is pretty much past it and is going out to the states. But, you know, there is still a lot of unknowns even on that. Because I've never been able to find out when they say like, well, okay, we're moving those questions to the PS or the, you know, and it's like, well, but are there going to be ones in there? Nobody knows how that's going to happen. Right? Each state still has to decide if they're going to adopt that PLSS module, is my understanding. But you know, I guess the short comment is it's still a lot of unknown about that thing, and that's like 99% through the process, you know, and I can't even respond to it if I don't know, are they taking the questions out of, you know, entirely out of it? You know, I don't know. We're starting to talk. This prompted Wisconsin, our society, to open a better dialogue with our licensing board. And I'd suggest all states do that because ours was not talking to us, you know, right? Everybody was aghast at this in Albuquerque, didn't know about it, type thing. So got to start communicating with that, your licensing board, which is, you know, NCWS. So anything, Jim, you know, you're on some of those boards, any information would be better than what's going out now. Sorry.
Thanks,
I'd
Dick.
like to make some clarifications on your statement. NCS is not a licensing board. They provide exams. That's basically all they do.
Yeah,
They
well,
also
that's not what I said. I said our licensing board is by de facto a member of NCWS.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
That,
Little nuance there, yeah.
I'll give you a little bit of history. Back in the early 90s, the Maryland Society of Surveyors sued the State Board of Professional Land Surveyors. And the relationship has been mended quite well. And what we did in Maryland was that we would have the incoming president have them come attend board meetings. So, and also give them the floor at one point so that there could be some discussions on what the society was doing and what the board was doing. So I would suggest that you reach out to your board, because I'm pretty sure there are open public meetings, and have a representative from your society attend those meetings. And it's been very helpful over the years. Very
Yeah,
helpful.
our executive director attends them all, but just didn't seem to be that way. And then Wisconsin seems to have kind of like it's not a formal gag order, but they just don't want the licensing board members to be speaking for the licensing board individually. So they wanted to go through
No.
attorneys all the time. So
And-
that's the problem.
And also what we've done in the probably past 5 or 6 years on the PLS board was that we would have a town hall meeting at the annual conference.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
And, you know, at first we weren't allowed to answer questions. They had to submit questions in writing prior. And then that's been relaxed. And since we've made an official board meeting at this town hall meeting, we were allowed to answer questions. And it's been very helpful, I think. It's cleared up a lot of miscommunications between, you know, the society and society members and what's really going on with the board.
That's a good idea.
The PLLS exam, basically, the history of it is that the Western states wanted to come up with, they felt there wasn't enough questions on the PS exam, and that and in lieu of having various state exams, could they come up with, you know, a PLLS exam? And NCS explored that, and that's when they came up with the modules and all that. But really what came out of it is that they are going to be producing a public land surveys exam. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but I believe it's going to be ready, what, 2027? It's going to be a couple of years from now. And that's going to be volunteer on what the state wants to do, what exams they want to have their candidates take to become licensed in their state. It's not going to be dictated by NCS. It's going to be dictated by the individual states.
Yeah, and yeah, I didn't want to hijack the discussion, but I guess if, say, Wisconsin votes to adopt the PLS or doesn't vote to adopt the PLSS test, will the standard PS test still have the old PLSS questions that are in it?
I believe the latest blueprint and the future blueprints, exam specifications will have some public land states exams or
Right.
exam questions. So I don't think they're going away completely, but everybody felt that there wasn't enough testing on them. And basically you would be able to pass that exam. Let's say you were in Wisconsin taking the test. You could pass it and get all the public land states questions wrong and still pass. So that was probably one of the issues too.
All right, I think we've got Jim and Trish, and I apologize. I don't know which one of you was first, so I'll go left to right. Jim?
Yeah, just I'll try to make it quick because I know you have agenda items you want to get covered. The new PLL or PLSS test will be strictly those questions. Again, like Tom kind of said, it'll be state specific. If your state decides they want to move forward with it, they can. If they don't, it will have absolutely no effect on licensing. So there will be a second test, the PS test, which would be core and boundary questions. There will be absolutely zero questions for the PLSS on those questions on that exam. So if your state wants them and doesn't have PLSS questions on their exam, there will be absolutely none on the PS core and boundary exam. So,
Okay, Dick, I think that addresses what you were asking.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's the unknown. If that could be clarified and, you know, and we can ask our board that. They should know that, right?
They should know that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Our licensing board. Okay, cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Trish, I think you were next.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that I dropped the proposed model law in the chat with the I guess it was from February 2025 with the red line, blue line version. So let me know if that's the correct. Is that what you were looking for, Mike?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
And
I had one comment about the non-boundary surveyor as well. I'm like Dick was saying, we have a member of our society that reports back and attends all the board meetings, and we weren't aware of it until last NSPS meeting, whenever everyone became aware of it. But the thing that really strikes me is that NCs has been talking about this since 2018. And I'm just, it's coming up now finally. And it's just, even though we try to work with our board, I don't have any direct contacts with NCs, but our board does work with our registration or society very well. We still never found out about this until just recently. So we did, Pennsylvania did submit a letter to NSPS, NCs, and our registration board about just the naming. We're not opposed to it, the non-boundary, but we're not really comfortable with having it be named a professional surveyor. We'd rather have some other name be associated with that. It's going to confuse the public.
All right. Any other comments, questions? I'm just looking at my list here. I think that pretty well ended the agenda that I had for this meeting, which gives us a few minutes here. If anybody has any open forum items they want to bring up, now would be a great time. Tom, I don't know if you still add items.
Questions. Yes.
Okay.
We had a Delaware Association Surveyors board meeting the other day. We were talking about our upcoming conference, and someone mentioned that the CST is requiring continuing education credits. Is that true?
We have no.
That is true.
Trish is on and Norm is on as well, and they could speak to that, I'm sure.
And where would I be able to find what that consists of?
It's on the CST website, cstnsps.com,
Okay.
I believe. Norm, is that the right address? There's so many going around, cstnsps.com.
Yeah.
I believe it's right on the home page. We listed it right on there.
Okay.
And letters have gone out to all the CSTs. So, and I think, Norm, correct me if I'm wrong, 2025 was voluntary, but next year's renewal will be required. And it's small amounts, like 2 hours to 6 hours or something.
Yeah, and it's not going to be to the level that we have to as professionals that we have to get. It can be your dealer comes up and does a lunch and learn type thing. You sit through I keep picking on Red Vector, but I use them because they're cheap. Anything that that's going to benefit the technician.
Like first aid courses, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or Illinois tech thing, right? Come on, throw advertisement in there.
Yeah, and Missouri did at their spring workshop, they did a technician workshop, a full day for those guys. So that would be perfect for them.
Okay, thank you. I do have another question.
Sure.
Is there any resources or anybody that could guide me to see how other states have tackled this 811 issue, where if you put your tripod legs in the ground, you have to call 811 because you're breaking the surface of the ground with a tool? I mean, the federal, what's happening in Delaware, they got very strict, and they really, they're going to be working with us. But the 811 committee from the state Delaware would like to have additional information, if we could provide them, on how this has been addressed in other states. So if anybody can guide me into some resources, I know that the person from North Carolina said, yes, we've been fighting it. And I know, what's his name, Dolan from New Jersey says, yeah, they've been fighting it for years too. So basically, it's kind of ridiculous what they're going to try to put us through, and it's just not plausible, and it's definitely not financially feasible, economically feasible for us to do that. I mean, we're a small state, but I can't imagine like a state like New York or California that you got to call every time you want to dig dig a hole. I mean, instead
Yeah,
of hugging the ground.
Pennsylvania doesn't have it for tripod, but if you do drive a rebar, 36 inches, that's a requirement there. So a lot of surveyors use a 30-inch rebar instead.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying anything, I mean, like, anything that, basically you put your tripod leg in the ground, call Miss Utility or 811, and, the 811 doesn't even want to respond. They don't,
Yeah.
they know, they realize it's ridiculous too. So.
Sandy, I
Is there
see you've
anything
got a
on the
hand up.
website or anything like that has been addressed in the past?
Go ahead, Sandy. Do you have some feedback there? You're muted, I think.
Okay, yeah, I have a question for Trish. Will we have hard copy packets printed at the fall meeting, or do we need to print those prior if we'd like?
We will supply hard copies to you at the meeting.
Okay.
And
And
Aaron is
then-
going, oh no, wherever Aaron is, I don't see him.
I
Oh
was
no.
gonna answer for you, Trish.
More paper. Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron, I am paperless, but I like to carry around paper at a meeting, so for notes and that.
Makes you look important.
And then one question about the Alta vote. Is there an opportunity to make formal comments? I've written a letter, and I'm not sure it went out to all directors, but is there a possibility for formal comments prior to, or are we going to have the opportunity during the meeting to speak?
I believe so. I mean, it'll be an agenda item, it'll be a motion that will come forward. So there's, will be an opportunity, I think, for discussion there. If there's, it would be best if we can try to get as much of that information out ahead or have as much of that dialogue ahead as we can. Just, in the effort of ensuring we can keep things kind of streamlined at the meetings.
I do know the final draft is on the school's recording or the Zoom recording on schools, but will the final draft be on the October information that's going to be distributed?
Yes.
Yes.
And Tom, I want to go back. I apologize. I thought maybe Sandy had something to weigh in on the 811 discussion. Just to circle back and finish that out. I think this would be a good topic of conversation for the regional councils. I know one of the things we've been trying more recently is to have a topic or two that can be discussed amongst yourselves in those region meetings. So maybe this would be a good topic for you to gather some insight and feedback from other states as to what they're experiencing and seeing on that topic.
That'd be great. Unfortunately, I'm unable to attend the meeting in
Okay.
November or in October, so I
Okay.
apologize. I got some deadlines at work that I can't get out of, so.
Dick, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, Tom, I was gonna circle back to 811 in Wisconsin. It's Digger's hotline, and geez, what I've been on this board for 6 years. We've at least been trying to infiltrate the Digger's hotline board for that long, and actually successfully, we got 2 out of 3 of their committees are now chaired by land surveyors. And we're starting to drive the conversation in Wisconsin and, making requirements and stuff like that. And so far, the utilities have been agreeable to us, requiring as-built and stuff like that, and, starting to do that. And Linda, yeah, maybe that would be, Bob Welch, our executive director, is on that committee. Maybe that'd be a good thing to get him to attend. Remember, I'm trying to get executive directors to want to come to these meetings. Maybe he could, I don't want to put him on the spot, but share. But I think, yes, for the regional meetings, that would be another good share, I guess.
Yeah, and we can try to capture that in some minutes too and get them, back circulated. So Tom or anyone else who's unable to attend can get some insight through that. Any other topics out there anyone wants to bring up?
just real quick on the, back to what Sandy was talking a little about with the, Alta standards. I did share some of the information that was with our board, our society here, from the last town hall, what was shared there. I think, they do have some comments. I think the overall consensus though was, why wasn't this shared with us? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
I have to agree with them. I think you could argue that the Alta NSPS requirements are maybe the thing that impacts our general membership the most in terms of, it's something that they have to adhere to when they're preparing a survey. And I would relate that to if your board in your state was changing regulations or minimum standards and did that without sharing it with the overall membership for comments or anything ahead of time, I think, there would be some outcry there as well. So, this is something we do every 5 years. This is the first time I've been here on the as a director. But I was surprised that it didn't go out to the general membership for comment ahead of time. So,
Duly noted.
yeah.
Oh, with that, if we have a copy of those, can we share those with anybody, or do we have to wait till it's approved at the upcoming board meeting?
Meaning the draft, or what do you?
Yeah, the draft. I mean, I haven't shared it with anybody, but are we allowed to share it? So that, they can come back to us as directors and say, hey, can you ask a question about this particular item that's in this draft?
My answer would be, I don't see why not. I mean, that would be a good Gary Kent question, and the folks that are chairing that committee. Unfortunately, I've not been able to sit on every committee. I've tried my best to get around to them all. But that's one I've not been able to sit on explicitly. And so, certainly if there's additional questions, concerns, thoughts, feelings, please get those, gathered and out, and brought back to that group. So like I said, that we can work through those things and be able to feel comfortable moving those things forward.
Is the draft posted anywhere?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It
It
will
will
be
be.
posted on the website. I mean, we have the documents getting ready to go up, so it'll be posted on the website within probably early next week.
Okay.
I just sent Gary a quick email to see if it's okay to share. I would agree with Linda. I don't think there's any reason why it can't be shared.
Yeah, I'd like to chair it. Wisconsin's got a board meeting October 4th. And yeah, I thought the changes were rather benign until I talked to Sandy and really thought about the table issue. And so, yeah, I really should share that with our board and get some feedback before our fall meeting.
Once Gary responds, if he says it's okay to share, I have the document. I'll just send it out to all the directors, so you'll have it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order before we call it a hour? All right. Well, once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your days. I know they're busy and everybody has things to do, but I'd like to think we're important too. So thanks for giving us your time and listening in and getting ready for hopefully some very productive meetings in Minneapolis. Look forward to seeing you all soon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey,
Thank
Sounds
How's
good.
the executive director town hall thing going?
We've had one. And I mean, we've had some positive feedback that the directors did like it. So I
Good.
think the plan is to have one after our fall meeting, so Tim can give them an update. But yeah, it was well received.
Good.
Yeah, I think the goal with those is to not do them monthly like we're doing with our directors, but maybe find that, is it twice a year or quarterly cadence that's comfortable for everyone, not overdoing it, but often enough to keep people feeling like they're in the loop. So it's all an experiment. A lot of this we're doing is new, so appreciate the feedback and we'll adjust from there.
No, thanks for doing that. I mean, yeah, I think they're both ours and the executive director is a good idea.
Perfect. Appreciate the feedback. All right.
All
Have a
right.
great day, everybody.
Thank
We'll see you
you.
soon.
Thank
See you
you.
in Minneapolis.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you.
very much,
Bye-bye.
Rush.
Bye, everybody.